This is a huge wide open space. There's a ton of natural light coming through these atrium skylights that run all the way through this entire space. That means we can probably shoot this entirely with natural light. And when we first came through to scout, I was considering using some hot lights and doing a light painting technique, but being here today, the sun is so bright, it's just about middle of the day, so I think we can get everything we need just through the use of exposure bracketing. I plan on throwing a few people into the space just to show the scale of how massive these ceilings and the height in this space actually is. I see a few challenges that we're going to have to face. We have these glass railings up the stairs and on the top level, and we also have a wood ceiling off in the distance on the top level that has a massive amount of glare on it. I'm hoping that the polarizer is going to take care of that for us, but there's a chance that we might have to come up with another solution. I think the window that's causing all of that glare is way too high for us to put flags on or black sheets to block that light out. So I know there's blinds on the windows. I'm hoping we can get to them to adjust them, close them out, and we should be able to use the polarizer in conjunction with the closed blinds and actually get the exposure we need for that ceiling. So let's talk for a few minutes about the composition that we have set up here. You'll notice in this live view we have parts that are really dark and parts that are really bright. That's the need to do the exposure blending here. We're going to have to get an exposure that fills in the bottom half of the scene here where this planter is and these chairs are, but we also need exposures for the upper half of the scene where it's extremely bright, because right now everything up there is blown out. There's just no detail. We set up for a 1-point composition on this. I think it was screaming for that. The symmetry down through this space with the planter and the staircase and the lights that are running along the open atriums as it reaches up to the top of the building, everything is so symmetrical that if we didn't do a 1-point, I think we'd be missing a huge opportunity here. As you can see, this is an active workspace, so we have to kind of work around the people that are in the space. You've probably seen quite a few people walking through the scene already, so we have to take that into account when we're photographing the space, that we are sensitive to people who may not want to be in our photographs. Having said that, we've got some talent with us that we can stage in our scene in all the places that we need to help show that scale. We've already centered up the camera in the frame. We've got everything nice and level, and I think we've got the composition that we want. What we've decided on is to have a foreground element of this planter here, but we needed to show this planter grounded in some fashion. So we have just a hint of the carpet on either side of the planter. If we take that out, then it basically looks like this planter is just floating in midair. You can't see where it actually meets the ground without the dark portions of that carpet flanking either side of it. So that was kind of an important aspect that we decided on for our foreground element. Behind those, we have some chairs. There's a small table surrounded by 4 chairs, and that was actually in a different part of the lobby. Originally, this space had high back bench seats, and we just thought that that was way too cluttered in that space, and so we made some changes. If you do move furniture around to enhance the composition and the story in your photograph, just make sure you put that stuff back. Always take the time to do a walkthrough after a shoot and make sure everything that you move, you put back in its original location. Exposure wise on this, we're going to try to go with ISO 100, keep it nice and clean. Hopefully we won't have to raise that too much. I would like to be able to stay as low ISO to keep the noise down as much as possible, and we'll just drag the shutter as we need to. I think the people that we have in the shot are going to be pretty static, so we won't have to worry too much about blur. And because there are people that we're planting into the scene, we don't have to really worry about model releases or being too sensitive of these people being on camera. I think the only person that we're going to want to have motion in the scene is probably someone on the staircase actually moving up through and ascending the staircase. If we can do that, I think that'll add a little bit of dynamics to the scene, and everybody else can just be kind of using these common area spaces either on a laptop or maybe checking a cell phone, something like that. So I think we're looking at maybe 4, possibly 5 people for this entire scene. Once we get them in position, we'll have a better idea. Now, to speak a little bit more on people, I'm probably in just about 90% of the photos that I've created. You'll see me in there somewhere, because I know where I want somebody, and it's sometimes easier for me just to be that person, especially if we're short on talent or people that are willing to be in our photographs. I recommend you bring a couple extra shirts with you on location when you're doing a photo shoot. Maybe keep a couple in your car so that you can change up your attire. Some of that stuff can be done in post, but it's always a good idea to be able to change things up a little bit if you need to, or loan a shirt to somebody else who may be wearing the wrong thing. Dark colors may blend in with, say, these plants in the foreground. Somebody who's wearing a bright white shirt, we may have a hard time seeing them on the top level up here. So bold colors I like because they stand out. They really help draw your eye to those people in the space, and that helps just amplify that difference in scale between a person and the actual space that they're in. So keep that in mind. Bold colors, bring some extra change of clothes for people. When you go to grab talent or ask people to be in your photos, try to find people with those bold colors that you can use. Solid patterns are typically better. Nothing too crazy. You don't want a bunch of leopard prints and things like that in the photos, because that's just going to be obnoxious and it's going to actually distract more than it's going to help you. So I'd say with that, we're ready to take a shot here. Let's get a base exposure. We can evaluate an actual photograph rather than just looking at the live view, and see where we want to start this whole thing off.
We got focus?
We have. We'll take a shot here and check. There's our first shot. People at the top of the stairs there. We're looking pretty good. This looks pretty sharp. I did check focus, so I know that we're sharp here. What I want to do is bring up these foreground plants nice and bright, and we can paint those in or drag a gradient in after the fact for those. Look at our color though. Look how accurate this is. This is one of the things that I love about the new Canon cameras, is how accurate the auto white balance white priority is. And it's one of the reasons that I have come full circle back to Canon after using brands like Phase One and Sony and the others. I'm really happy with the white balance that I get from these Canons, because I have to do a lot less color management when I get into post. I think we need to start with darker exposure, trying to get some of the mid-tone stuff up here drop down a bit, and then we can crank it up until our foreground element is nice and bright. And then from there, we'll try to close those blinds, get our ceiling back there, good exposure for that, and then we can start to throw some people in the scene, yeah?
Yeah, the thing I'm thinking staging-wise is this overlap is different on these. You're going to give those a quick spin.
The intersecting, let's move the one on the left, this one over here, so that it overlaps like the one on the right. So what Barry's noticing is the intersecting lines here with these two chairs. The overlap on the chairs is not the same on both sides. If we're going to shoot a symmetrical photo, let's make it very symmetrical. It's a small adjustment, but I think little details like that make things look a lot better in a finished image.
Do you want to go live and then I can adjust it in real time?
Sure. Okay. Make it happen.
I already moved it, I'm just making sure.
Oh, no, more.
Do I got to rotate it like this, or does it got to move?
Yep. Well, more. Just rotate it. There you go. That's pretty good. Yeah? There's that one. Pretty solid.
Pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to be exact,
Yeah,
but I want them really, really close.
I mean,
all right, I think I'm just going to bang through a bracket here for this. Light's
quick.
changing, so let's get a bracket for the lower half of this scene here. I'm going to come down to about 1/5 of a second. We'll grab that one. It's pretty nice, maybe even lower, just for insurance to have it. Nice and dark. If we were only concerned with the top half of the frame right now, I wouldn't worry about people walking through the bottom half of the scene, but because this is what our focus is at the moment, this is really what we're exposing for, I want to make sure that that's clear and we don't have random people walking through our picture. I'm really looking at halves, right? Splitting the bottom half and the top half of the scene. I think we can probably drag some gradients and make that happen together. And we get lots of people, more pedestrians. Now they're walking the other way, they're unidentifiable. They're going to be really dark if I take this shot right now. I don't mind having people walking that away from us typically, but because we're at such a dark exposure, we wouldn't see them anyway.
We're clear. Oh, we're not clear now.
Somebody come in? That's okay, he's coming back. All right, boom, let's get that one. Another one. And I'm really looking towards the foreground right now. I think the grass will get one brighter. That's pretty good.
Yep.
I think we got all the parts we need for the bottom half. Do you want to go up and see if you can get those blinds to close back there somehow? And let's hope that that takes care of our overhead up there. While he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and put a polarizer on the camera because I think that's going to cut down a lot of the glare that we have up there. And then in conjunction with the blinds being closed, we hopefully will get the tonality that we're looking for on that ceiling. Trusty Lee linear polarizer with the wide angle bellows here for blocking flare. All right, this is gonna dramatically change our exposure, a stop and a half, something like that. So I'm gonna take another shot just to see where we are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that helps a lot. That pretty much took care of our problem. Yeah. So I'm gonna darken our exposure up there just a little bit more.
Too?
I did at the same time. I didn't realize you had the blinds closed when I did the first polarization shot, and I was like, shoot, polarizer almost took care of everything, but you did that at the same time, so. Let's try this. Yeah, that's pretty solid, huh?
Man, yeah.
We can richen that up, make a selection, boost the contrast, boost the saturation, make it look pretty good, yeah?
Yep.
I think the top half looks pretty good. We may want to go a little bit brighter on the sides up here when we put a person up there.
Have you got one for this?
I don't have this yet, so let's go ahead and keep speeding up our shutter until we have one for our atrium up there.
Our light's gonna be skimming almost straight down that.
I think that looks pretty good right there for the atrium area.
Yeah.
All right.
In a minute, man, this light's all gonna be skimming down this.
That'll be perfect. Let's go ahead and get some talent in here, I think, at least on the lower level, yeah? So we've got this one guy down here, and he's already said he's okay to be in our photos, so I think I want to put somebody in the right-hand chair over here, maybe with a laptop or something, and then we'll figure out somebody maybe leaning on the railing with a cell phone on the right-hand side.
Okay.
And then we can have somebody maybe going up the stairs. I think those four were probably pretty good, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, so if we can get some talent to come in and help us out. They're ready. Let's take a shot for the bottom down here and just see where we are with the guys on the bottom half, right?
Is she walking on the left side?
She will, but for now, let's see what happens with our two guys on the lower level. I'm gonna go to 2 seconds. I'm not sure where we need to be.
Nuclear.
You think so,
Yeah.
with a polarizer?
Not bad.
Not bad. We're not too far off. He's bright, but this guy's starting to come in. We got a walker back there in pink. That's actually pretty nice.
This is gone.
This is gone, but all I'm looking for is these down here, right? So let's go one brighter for this guy. Maybe we can get a little bit brighter for him. 2.5, maybe 3. Let's go 2.5. He's solid. You can see him. We can always brighten him up a little bit more in post.
Good.
This guy's nuclear. Let's take him down a bit. What do you think? 1.3?
Let's give it a shot.
We'll go to a second, just to have it. That's solid. Oh, look at our people flanking. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, he looks good. Are you worried about the bloom?
These are dark.
Around the grass here, there's some bloom sort of. Why is that popping up? Right around.
In here?
Yeah.
I'm okay with this right here. Okay. And we're going to drop different grass in there, which hasn't moved. So when we put those two together, we should be okay. I like this guy here. I like this guy here. I wish they weren't so dark. We can probably lift them in post because we have 3 or 4 stops on this camera at this exposure. Yeah. We can raise things without losing any quality. She's actually looking pretty nice. Should we have her at this exposure? Try to head up the stairs. Shay, you want to go ahead and start heading up the stairs right now? It's not bad.
Do we want her carrying something, or do you want her arms at her side? You know?
Well, I didn't know she was going to hug it. Can you lose the laptop? Lose it. Yeah, just throw it over the side. He actually looks pretty good up there. Right?
He decent.
I mean, I like the contrast up top of him. I think we can probably use that. If we cut this out and start to make changes to saturation on that wood ceiling, we're not going to have to worry about her being, interfering with that at all.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go again. Just walk with your arms at your side like normal. That's straight down.
A little stiff. A little bit
A
stiff.
little stiff. It's pretty good. I like it. I like that she's in that little pool of light right there.
Do we want to get her when she hits it?
She is. Her head's in it, I think.
She's right in front of it, dude.
I like where it's at. I like him. I like her. We've got one for this guy. We've got one for this guy. Let's open up a little bit and catch some people walking down the hall while they're here. Try to catch them in front of that pole. You can see some motion down there. I'm okay with that. If we can get somebody on the other side, that would be good.
Do you want me to be that guy?
You can be that guy. I think with you guys, we're done. Come on down. Yeah, you can come on out too.
Which guy do you want me to be?
I want you to be on this side, walking away. Just walking.
Strolling along.
Too fast.
That's too fast? It's my slowest walk. Well, that's gonna be real fast. You just want me to go real slow?
Not like, don't crawl, like drunk crawl, just walk.
You want me to mosey is what you want
Mosey,
me to do.
yeah, Canadian mosey.
Down the...
There you go.
I can't mosey much slower.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is jump to 200 ISO, and we can speed our shutter speed up. A stop, and that should help. Let's try it again.
Same mosey?
Same mosey, or normal walk. Let's just try a normal walk. There we go. Perfect.
I'm pretty good at walking. It's not a mosey at all.
We got some people down the other side. Let's see if we can get her there. Yeah, that's a good spot for her. I think we got a few people in there. I think it looks pretty good. We can probably use that. Do you think we need anything else for this shot? I think we've got all the pieces.
Bottom half, people, ceiling.
Do we want to go real dark ceiling up here? Just for one? Just in case?
I mean, we're here, right?
We are here. Let's do a half second. Oh, now I got a guy in red. When you know it. Let's go back to a second. Would love to have a guy in a bold color come in. Oh, we got a whole group. Let's try to catch them. This is part of the job. We just kind of stand around and catch people. If they're blurry, we can use them. There we go.
It's a whole mob.
Yeah, that's okay. And the other thing is we don't have to use all of those people. I mean, they're
Options.
kind of overlapping, but we can paint in just a single person if there is some separation between them. We've got quite a few people here that we can pull from, and I know that you don't use a lot of people in interiors with residential, but in commercial, every architect wants people in the space. So I try to stick around and get as many people as I can for options. In post, I try to put all of those people on separate layers so that if I do deliver a photo and the client doesn't like somebody over here or doesn't like somebody over there, it's just a simple layer. I can turn it off and that person disappears. We can also add additional people if they would like to see a more populated space. So even though I don't plan on using all these people, only maybe 4 of them, if I have 10 people that I can use, if we deliver this and the client says, I like it, I wish you had more people in it.
Or a guy on a scooter.
Or a guy on a scooter. I'm pretty happy. What do you think?
I like it, man.
There's people going upstairs. Let's grab them. This is a little bright, but let's capture it.
The guy on the scooter was awesome. He's going to be on there going through the background.
They're pretty dark. I kind of like it brighter with those people like that, on the steps. Let's try a 6th. Yeah, I think that's a nice light area on the steps. Let's try this cat here.
Oh, you missed him. He was right in the...
Oh, I got a pretty good spot, dude. We can use that.
That's nice.
Let's try it again. How about this guy? Where's he at? Let's get him coming
He's
down.
very nice posture.
Oh yeah, look at him in the light.
There he is.
Just glistening in the light. Fantastic. We got people moving all
nice.
over. Got some nice things happening here. Let's stick around for another minute. This is the nice thing about shooting a populated space at lunch. There's always tons of people around. Sometimes that can be a curse as well. If you want to try to get a space empty, or you're trying to get like a workspace like this without anybody in it,
People are sitting down.
everybody's there sitting. You got to throw people out and stuff. So, I mean, I think as far as the rest of the scene goes, we got all the pieces that we need. I like this exposure for this area better, though. I think it's nice and bright. It really draws the eye to the middle of the scene.
It's a little hot in here. A little hot.
Is it completely blown, though? That's the question.
It's blooming a little bit. It's pretty good. It does draw your eye right away. It goes
Yeah.
bam right to that spot.
Sean, can I get you to walk up the steps?
On my phone or just walk?
Yeah, you can be on your phone. Just walk up the stairs, man. You guys, can you walk up the stairs too? Just follow, just maybe, I don't know, half a flight behind Sean, yeah.
Oh, 2 for 1.
I'm just gonna keep firing here. I don't like that they're all like in a assembly line, yeah. Well, there's somebody coming down. Oh, that's pretty good. I liked that one with her in it. Space out a little bit more and vary your positions on the steps. Okay, I think we got a ton of shots here. We're able to keep it very natural and raw, which is exactly what the architect was talking about in that interview that I had with him. We really were able to show scale, and by not adding any additional supplemental lighting or having to do a lot of fancy camera work here, other than just basic exposure blending, which you'll see us do in post, we were able to capture the essence of what Eli was talking about in our meeting at HOK.